it's me, JC, back with another Ceramic Hour live stream. Today we are continuing to work on our little watercolor paint palette. Let me kind of move some of this stuff out of the way. So much in progress sitting here right now. It's kind of just taking up all my space. I can move this thing. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we're working on. We made some great progress carving out the backside, and we kind of beveled the sides already. That's looking pretty close to being done there. And then I think the majority of what we need to do is just carve the wells out, so we have a good amount for paint. So yeah, that's what we are working on in today's live stream. If you haven't joined the live stream before, it's just kind of an hour of my ceramic process, just live streamed. They're not really tutorials or anything. It's just kind of just for people to kind of watch step by step, the process that I do in real time, and we can hang out if anybody wants to join and chat or whatever, or just hang out while I talk about, I don't know, updates that I'm doing for the business, or I don't know, things. Let me think. Etsy came out with a they're kind of doing what would you say? I feel like it's really just PR on the shop side for people that have Etsy shops. They kind of have this video that you can watch that's just kind of saying where they're going to be trying to put their efforts going forward, trying to make sure that there isn't things that are violating their policies. Particularly what they've had problems with is people just selling things that were not handmade, and then they're saying that they're handmade. Specifically, mostly stuff that's oh, it's made in China, or they bought it in bulk on Temu or something, and then they mark it as handmade. That's particularly what they're having issues with, and they have an AI system that's been I don't know what when that was, but it was fairly recently that they have this AI system that goes through and has been shutting down shops or marking them as something that needs to be reviewed for Etsy, and then an Etsy employee supposedly is looking at them and then making the decision to keep those shops open or shutting them down, or reviewing certain listings and keeping those listings up or taking them down, stuff like that. They have they kind of outline for people what is allowed on Etsy, and kind of redefining that for, I guess people that are trying to sell things, but also for people that are buying things. So now they have specific categories that will show up on listings It's automatic, so you just have to make sure that your listing has been set up correctly, and it'll automatically like mark it as such. So they have categories that are handmade, designed by. So handmade is like, oh, I hand make ceramics. I do the whole process myself. They have designed by, so that would be definitely like print on demand sellers. They designed, you know, they made like a t-shirt design and then they like applied it, you know, to the t-shirt, and they're selling that. So they're not, you know, they're not physically screen printing the t-shirt or anything. They just designed it and then they sent it off to a production partner. Same thing with stickers. If you have somebody else printing your stickers for you, stuff like that would be designed by. And then they have like, I don't really know what the difference is, but they have 2 different sections for hand picked. And then the other one is like, what is the other one? They sound like the same. Like, yeah, I think it was like hand picked and then sourced. So that would like be for people that sell vintage, which I don't really understand why vintage is on Etsy, but it is, even though like that stuff is not handmade by any means. Could be, but probably not. And then you can also sell supplies on Etsy. So you could, like, the supplies are supposed to be for like making things. So you can sell beads, even if they're not handmade beads by you, you can sell beads. Stuff like that, or like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, you could sell like craft paper, or I don't know what the heck. I don't understand that part either that much. I don't know. But those are the 4 different like categories that will show up when you look at listings. Now it kind of like shows up near the, like, above the description. So it's kind of supposed to help people like figure out like how the thing was made. So you could be somebody that designs t-shirts and you screen print your own yourself. So you would want to create that distinction between other people that design t-shirts, but they're having somebody else, you know, manufacture it. Because obviously, like, screen printing it, I feel like that would go into the handmade category because you both designed it and you are physically creating it too. And that's gonna cost more than if you just like upload a design to Redbubble and then, or whatever, and then you just like have them print it for you. You know, there's a big difference between the effort that's being put into it. So I think that's pretty cool. As some of you guys may know, I also sell on Michael's Maker Place. Maker Place already has this integrated into their listings. It asks you like a few questions like, who made this item? Was it you? Was it someone on your team? Do you have a production partner that does part of the process? Like, they have a bunch of questions integrated into it, so they already are like on top of the game. I think they see the struggles that Etsy has, and they're kind of like, they're working on like those integrations now that like Maker Place is like brand new and is kind of like competing with Etsy. So I think that's like pretty cool. Although Maker Place is missing a few things, like I don't know, just like small things like shop filters or whatever. Like you can't go to my shop and like be like, I want to see all of the cups or I want to see all of the bowls. Like you can't do that. Like there's small things that they need to like add, but they are slowly making changes. And like rolling those out as, you know, as they are just kind of like on there longer. Maker Place literally just launched. They did a soft launch summer of 2023, and then they kind of had like an official launch in the fall of 2023. So they are really new. They're, you know, they're still working on making changes, whatever. But I think Etsy is having more trouble because they've been on the platform for so long, or they've been out there for so long. They have all these different sellers and they don't want to make people mad, because I think like to a certain extent, the more people they make mad with their changes, like they do like worse stock wise. Like people like sell their stock and stuff. Like they want to make the stakeholders happy, which is like really their main goal. And that's kind of why they roll out different things as opposed to like maybe listening to what their sellers actually want. I don't know. Etsy can be really great, but it definitely has its issues, which I think is really great that there is like places like Maker Place and, you know, more competitors coming up to give them competition, because the more competition they have, like people are going to leave Etsy and go to these other places. So not only would they have to listen to the stakeholders, but they would also actually have to listen to the sellers. And, you know, actually do things that the sellers want to. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Etsy. So, like, it's complicated. But if you sell on Etsy, you probably, like, completely know what I mean. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. I feel like what they've been doing, like their more recent changes and like announcements that they've made I feel like those are more for like the stockholders or the stakeholders. Because they like they're trying to like reassure people that Etsy is like for handmade goods. That's really like their main pitch, although they let people sell those other things, which is like counterintuitive kind of, because like I just saw like an Etsy ad and it was like, keep e-commerce like handmade or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well you have people selling vintage things, that's not handmade. Like like that's why people are so confused when they come to Etsy. They're like, I thought this was like handmade stuff, and then they're buying things that for one thing should not be on there. They're like a violation, or they're vintage, or they're like a supply item, and it's like, okay, well those were not handmade and people were promised handmade things. It's just very weird. It's weird. I kind of feel like I don't really get why they allow other things on there. I feel like when they were new, maybe they're like, yeah, let's just let people sell all these things. And then they grew, and then they're like, oh shoot, it's kind of a mixed message. like you can't be telling people like, oh, Etsy is like handmade stuff, and it's like, well, you have a lot of other things on there too though. Like I don't know, I feel like it's weird and confusing to people that like are just now like coming to Etsy. Like, I don't know. When I did like a market a few years ago, like, I mean, they definitely usually were like older people. I was like, yeah, like I have an Etsy shop. If you want to like, you know, if you're from out of town, you want to buy online, you can check out my Etsy. And they're like, oh, what's that? Like, there are people out there that haven't heard of it yet, you know? Like, so, like, I don't know. If they're putting out messages, I feel like they kind of need to be maybe a little bit clear about, like, what what people can expect when they go there. I don't know. But they're mostly, like, trying to talk about, like, oh, we're trying to get rid of, like, the people that are buying things in bulk off Amazon and then reselling them on Etsy. That's, like, what they're trying to get at, but it's not, I don't know. And it's really just, like, a message, I feel like, for the stakeholders for people to, like, keep investing in Etsy and, like, trying to keep them happy, because it is a problem. It's a huge problem. Like, it was kind of more recently, like, in the last, I don't know, I think it was, like, I don't know when exactly it was happening, but I think maybe in the last 6 months that Etsy had, like, this AI go through all the shops and, like, you know, flag all the ones that looked like they were not complying with the handmade thing. And so I feel like it seems like things have gotten better, but, like, you know, before that happened, like, when I'm trying to, like, find things on there, I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, so many listings are just, like, saying that they're handmade, and it's something that literally, you know, was just mass manufactured by somebody, you know, like, whatever, like, they bought off Amazon, they bought off Temu, some, you know, whatever, Alibaba maybe, like, I don't know, there's, like, a bunch of places you can buy things like that. And they're, like, selling it on Etsy, like, so much of the jewelry, if you try, like, you know, if you tried to look for jewelry on Etsy, you know, like, metal jewelry, I mean, obviously polymer clay, I feel like that's pretty clear that it is, like, not manufactured, but, yeah, if you're, like, looking at, like, jewelry that is, like, $10 and it's saying that's handmade, it's like, yeah, with that detail, I don't think so. Like, nobody in their right mind would be selling jewelry with this much detail for this price if it was handmade, you know? I'm kind of the person that will, like, report listings that I feel like are violating the policies. I don't know, maybe it's, like, a complete waste of time because, like, there's so many things out there. But I'm one of those people, and, like, when I've, like, more recently searched things, like, it is actually getting harder to find things that are not so obviously, you know, like, sometimes I find things and I'm like, wait, like, I don't think this is handmade, but I also can't find where it is originally being sold. Like, if it was, like, on Amazon or something, like, I'm not finding it there. So some things are getting a little bit trickier, but I feel like they've actually, like, cleaned up a good amount. There are definitely people that they made, like, some item, like, by hand, and then like, some manufacturer, like, ripped them off. But I don't know. And then, like, apparently, like, the bot, like, shut down the shop that, like, actually made it by hand. But I don't know, I'm kind of, like, interested in those cases, because usually when, you know, like things are like, you know, like ripped off, like there's usually like a pretty obvious like aspect about it where it's not exactly the same, right? Because if this person just bought, you know, whatever, 100 pieces of jewelry online, like from say Amazon, it's gonna look exactly the same as that Amazon listing, right? Like there aren't going to be like slight changes in the design. I don't know. I don't really understand those problems that people say they've had. I've just like heard them like mentioned in other YouTube videos. I'm like, why? How is that a problem? Because like if somebody ripped you off, it's probably not exactly the same. Like you can probably prove, you know, like that you hand make these things. I don't know. I'm confused why that is like a problem. I don't know. But that there are problems with the bot apparently. And it flagging things that like maybe it shouldn't have flagged. But I don't know. I think definitely some people are definitely having issues trying to sell their items. And like, I don't know, I've heard some things like in some like YouTube videos where people have like tried to open a case with Etsy about their shop being like shut down for, I don't know, like something like the bot flagged it and then a person looked at their shop and then like removed either like the shop or the listing, and then people are like, no, it was actually handmade, and then like they're trying to like dispute it, and then like Etsy's like not paying any attention to their disputes or something. I don't know, but I'm just like, what the heck, Etsy? Like, I don't even know. I mean, I guess I don't really know like what the heck their thing is. I feel like they make so much money. Like, if you need to hire more employees to be, I don't know, doing something, maybe you should. I don't know. I guess like business things are maybe more complicated than that. But I don't know. I'm just like, do you need more people to like review listings that are flagged? Like, kind of sounds like it, but, or like the dispute thing. Like, you can't just ignore people because you shut their shop down due to like a bot. Like, I don't know. They have like a lot of like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't even know if you can say they're growing pains, because I mean, Etsy's been around for like, they've been around since 2009. I mean, is it 2009? I mean, a chunk of time. It's been a chunk of time, you know? It's not like it was created 5 years ago. You know, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, so I don't know. I think a lot of people are kind of upset about that kind of whatever that stuff is happening. I feel like the majority of people that are making handmade items are not having these problems. A lot of people that are having problems are, well, definitely the print-on-demand people. They've been having a lot of issues with the, like, mock-ups. People with the same, like, mock-up, like, the mock-up, like, background, got, like, items, like, I don't know, like, removed or, like, shops closed or something because people were using the same mock-ups as each other. But they're showing, like, different designs. So that's totally fine. But, like, the AI bot just, like, shut down, like, a bunch of stuff. And it was definitely, like, an issue. I feel like a lot of print-on-demand people are, like, feeling that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like for the most part, a lot of people that are actually making things that are handmade are not having issues. I don't know. Not that I'm like that interconnected with any kind of like Etsy like community or anything. I just kind of I don't know, I kind of like I like to watch like videos about people talking about like the Etsy updates or whatever. Just kind of that thing, or like Starla Moore has a like a Friday chat, like live chat thing on, it's called Friday Bean, and they usually talk about like maybe like news that's happening on Etsy, or I don't know. I mean, if it's like recent, I mean, people are gonna be talking about it, you know. Even if like the live chat isn't like really focused on that, I feel like people are going to like mention things that have been happening in the community, you know. Yeah. I wonder how deep should we go with this thing? I feel like we can make these like really deep. I need to like consider that, like where they are right now, I feel like it's pretty deep, but there is going to be like a certain amount of glaze on top of this. I mean, I don't really know like how much the glaze is going to like cover this. Maybe like somewhere between 1 and 2 like millimeters or something, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for how big these are, it could be a lot. So I do think we probably should make these like deeper, even though right now I'm kind of feeling like the depth is like good. I don't know, maybe I should make them a little bit wider. I'm not sure. What else is happening? I don't know. Sorry, I had to change the stream today. I streamed during my lunch break, and somebody put a meeting on my calendar during my lunch break. So it's fine. I just had to like move the stream a little bit. But tomorrow, the plan is to have a normal stream schedule from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah. And then next week, I'm going to have to cancel July 19th. That's Fridays. But otherwise, I think we'll have a normal stream schedule. Well, maybe. So not this weekend, next weekend, I plan on doing the local Saturday market here in Portland. So I will be prepping for that. I don't know. I mean, right now, I don't feel like I have a lot that I need to do in terms of like prep work, but it's possible. I might be like, oh, I really need like some extra time to do this or whatever, and I might cancel it, I don't know, Thursday or something, but I try to keep you guys updated, or at least I try to like update like the banner on my profile, like day of. I'm sorry, it's not any earlier than that. As you know, like day of updates. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to do another market and see how it goes and like compare it to the last one that I did. I have sold a number of things like since the last market, so I mean, people really didn't buy that much the last time, so hopefully we'll have like a decent amount. Yeah, there's like no way I can like between now and then, there's no way I can like have anything ready to just like go in the kiln. Because I don't have my own kiln. I fire at a local studio. Their turnaround time is about like, it's generally a week for glazed firing. Sometimes the bisque is not quite a week. So yeah, it doesn't typically take a week to do a firing. I don't like, I've never fired a kiln, but from what I've heard, I think it's typical for firing to be like 24 hours until you can like open the kiln. Like it has to cool off enough for you to open it. So like if I had my own kiln, it's like, okay, turnaround time would be like not as long, but that's not the case. Not right now. But like, I mean, generally I would say like for me, I really don't make things like that often, because I just do this like in addition to my full-time job. So I'm not like, you know, just like whipping out like pieces. But you know, kind of like might be moving into a house soon, possibly in the next year or something, maybe. And I'm pretty sure I'll be getting my own kiln. Just because like, oh my gosh, it's like it's really sketch trying to like transport your stuff, primarily for the bisque, but glaze firing too. It's pretty sketch trying to bring stuff to the studio, and the studio is literally 10 minutes away from my apartment. So if we were to like get this house, it's like maybe like 45 minutes away. So like super sketch if I were to like continue firing. So I'm kind of thinking like if we moved into this house, Jason's mom's house, then I'm probably gonna get my own kiln, which is like really scary. I'm like, I mean, like, not really in like a fire hazard way. I mean, there's that, but really just in like I'm gonna put like all these pieces that I spent a ton of time on, and I'm going to fire them, and I've never fired a kiln before. And then are they going to be like ruined or anything? Like I don't know. I'm just kind of like worried about my capabilities, because I mean, a lot of things have a learning curve, and I'm just assuming that a kiln does too. So I'm like, I don't know, but I think it would be like equally exciting as it is like kind of terrifying. So I would be very excited, but also just like really concerned that I'm going to like ruin all my pieces that I like put in there. But yeah, of course, if we have to pack up this entire apartment, I'm going to have to like probably stop streaming for some period of time if that happens. But yeah, I have no idea what the situation is going to, when that is gonna happen, due to other circumstances at the moment. but it's something that we kind of have in our minds. And the house is not move-in ready. If it were like vacant. So I think there's like things that we would have to like work on first. Like, oh gosh. But don't offend anyone, but there's a horrendous orange shag carpet, like 70s orange shag carpet in the living room, and I'm like, can we take that out? It's like, this is not the vibe. And there's like the garage. There are like two places where I can kind of like put my ceramic things. One is like half of the garage, which has been like blocked off for like a workspace. And there's like insulation falling out of the ceiling. You know, like the, you know, like pink glass fibrous insulation just dangling about. And I'm like, I think we'll have to do something about that also, so that I can comfortably sit in here and like work on things. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know, I think it's gonna be like some amount of work, but I don't know. I mean, we don't have like a lot of money, so it's not like we're gonna be like putting in like a ton of like renovations. But I feel like some things just need to be like touched up a little bit. Oh, that shag carpet. You know, another thing, I hate the color orange. Orange is like orange and brown. Like, just like not the vibe. I don't know, they're just not the vibe. Just can't really, I don't know. Something about it, I just can't quite do it. Although sometimes orange looks like okay in combination with other things, but you know, I feel like just generally on its own, I don't really like it. I have to like add some water to this thing. It's pretty dry. I think it's like okay right now, but before we get off the stream, I'll have to like maybe spray with some water real quick. What else? I already told you guys that I am going to do like, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to visit some ceramic markets this weekend. Really excited to see what some locals have been making. So like, I don't know, I'm always like in a hurry, so I don't really sit and chat at markets, but I don't know. Maybe if I'm just like in the mood, maybe like chat it up with some people. But yeah, I'm really excited. One of them's gonna have like, I think ice cream and like a DJ, while people are like selling their ceramics, and like that sounds so fun. I'm so excited. My gosh, look how black my hands are. It's all from this trimming tool. I don't understand, like, it seems like a lot of like metal things just like emit like black stuff. I feel like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that I particularly washed this with soap, but I feel like if I did, it would still just like do the same thing. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Do, 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 do. I don't think I have any other updates or anything. Let me think. I mean, I've kind of already talked about like the weekend, going to go out on the lake and swim around and go to the markets, the two ceramic markets. And then what else? I did want to try this like mochi donut place. We went there last weekend and they closed early. I think it was because it was like really hot last weekend. I don't know. They didn't say. And they didn't like add it to their like on Google Maps. So I'm like, it's like, we specifically went all the way over there for donuts and they were just like closed. And I was like, cool. They're supposed to be open till 4 and they closed at 12. I was like, okay. So maybe we'll get some donuts. I guess we'll have to see. I've never had like mochi donuts, but I think they're cheaper or something than regular donuts. Maybe. I don't know. I saw them on like, what is it? Some, I don't know, YouTube channel, some YouTube food channel. They're talking about it. And I was like, they're talking about donuts. Like, that was the, like, video. It was just talking about donuts. And they're like, yeah, look at these donuts in Portland. I was like, wait, here? And I was like, wait a minute. That's that place that we pass by all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, we have to go there now. Like, of all the donuts in all of the cities in the US, they chose to talk about this one, you know? So I'm like, I don't know, we have to go there. Maybe it's really good. I mean, it's really not like that far away, but it was just kind of like sad that we drove over there and they weren't open. It's actually like not far away. But it was just like really sad. Yeah, so we're gonna check out some donuts. There's like some new like artist store. They are a bit out of the way. So I don't think we're going to go there this weekend, but I want to check it out. I think they're pretty new. This other ceramic, well, it's like a group of like these girls that like run the business. So I don't really know this other ceramic business. But they're like all, you know, it's all like handmade stuff. They like, they have like their work in there, like selling on commission. And I think it's like pretty new, so I'm kind of like interested in checking it out. And like, I don't know, maybe it's a good like, you know, that like small stepping stone for me to do like, to me to sell like on, not on commission, what's the word? Consignment, that's the word, I'm sorry. To sell on consignment. I am trying to look at my prices and kind of like check them out. I'm kind of trying to keep track of how long things are taking me so I can kind of, you know, have a better idea about like the pricing situation. But I think it's a good one to like to have in mind. I think it's a pretty small store compared to some of the other places that sell handmade local items, but you have to start somewhere, and you can't start like too big. But yeah, I want to make sure like my pricing is right. Typically if you sell on consignment, I think it's pretty typical sorry, I'm just like looking at the time. I have a meeting at 1:30, so I'm just like, how much time do I have? So I have to run like a little, like a teensy bit earlier than you know, than we usually do. Okay, if you are selling on consignment, I think it's typical for you to get 60% of the sale, and then the store gets 40%. That's like the typical ratio. And the difference between consignment and wholesale is, I think it's pretty normal for like consignment to just be like a few things, and the store isn't buying it from you. You're just kind of selling in the store. So if you bring 10 items and none of them sell, then the store's gonna give it back to you. Whereas like wholesale, I feel like wholesale, I mean, it's usually like a pretty big chunk, like a pretty big sale. I don't know like how many ceramic things would be typical. But wholesale is usually like, I don't know, maybe like 50 plus. And then they're buying it from you. So if they don't sell it, they have to like put it on sale, and it's kind of like their problem to like deal with. But wholesale is usually 50-50. So for anybody that goes to a handmade store, you know, they sell like handmade local things, you're like, oh my God, look at these prices. Like, that is because the artist is getting somewhere between 50 or 60% of that, which isn't a lot for a handmade thing. So that's why it, you know, the handmade things are like, holy cow. When you do go to like some stores, like, yeah, it's, you know, if you're kind of comparing that to Etsy, because a lot of people on Etsy are not trying to make money. They're just, some people on Etsy are just like, oh, like, I just knit for fun, and, you know, somebody wants to buy it, that's cool. You know, like, a lot of people on Etsy are not trying to make money, so some things are just extremely cheap, and they're not even paying themselves minimum wage for the amount of time that it took them to do things. But, so you have that extreme low price. But Etsy sellers will also, they're not thinking to sell at a wholesale price, wholesale or consignment price. They're just selling it for exactly like, okay, this was the cost of, you know, the supplies. This is how many hours I put into it. You know, they're kind of like doing that thing, but you're supposed to be charging more than that, considering, like if you were selling in a store. And if you're not selling in a store yet, like you're still supposed to be charging those higher prices, because while you don't have a store that is marketing your items, bringing customers in, you're doing that. Like you're spending that time to market on Instagram, you know, making product videos on Instagram, making whatever, posts on Pinterest, or, you know, instead of a store doing that for you, you're doing it. So that's why, like, even if you know, you didn't currently have some kind of like consignment or wholesale deal with a store, you still should be charging those kind of prices for handmade goods. Or it kind of like, kind of makes sense. Like if you kind of think about like, so I don't currently have like any, like either of those set up, wholesale or consignment, with any stores. But, you know, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm going out to markets and I have a booth there. So like, you know, instead of a store doing that, bringing customers in, like I'm doing it. So that's kind of like, you know, like if I have a booth, it's not free. Like there's never a market where it's just free to be there, except, I mean, there are some, but they're really bad markets. like really bad ones. The ones that you want to be at, that people like really go to, are not going to be free, you know? So like, okay, like I have to charge more because, you know, I have to cover this booth fee. I have to, you know, I mean, I don't think anything that I'm selling is quite covering the amount of time that I'm, you know, standing at the booth. The booth is just about a 12-hour day. At least, like, I had to get there early for my first time selling at the market. So it was really close to being 12 hours. Like, okay, I had to get up, pack the car, drive over there, set up, you know, set the booth up, like all of these things. And then, you know, of course, like, so we're there at the market for like, from 10 to 5. 5's when it closes. Pack up, drive home, unload, put the stuff away. Like a 12-hour day, you know, like I'm not getting paid for this. Basically, like I'm not paying myself to do that, because I just like, I can't afford to be like charging like that much, you know? But it all just kind of like, if you really think about like what you're doing as a business, and you're, you know, you're really considering like your time as like not being free, and it's like not entirely just for fun, you know, it kind of comes together, and I think makes sense for like how much people have to charge for handmade goods. I hope that makes sense. Well, we are actually perfectly on time. I kind of wanted like 5 minutes before my meeting just to kind of like wash my hands and make sure we had like all the stuff put away. Well, yeah, I don't know. I hope you like this little chat. Maybe you learned something. I do kind of want to make like a video or like a reel or something for people, because like I totally get it. I see things at like handmade stores and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is so much money. And I'm like, well, if you cut that in half, you know, if you're thinking 50-50, if you cut it in half, it's like, okay, well, the person isn't really, it's not that much that the maker is getting, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense for you guys. So I should be back for our live stream tomorrow at 1. For anybody watching on Twitch, be sure to follow along so you know when I jump on for videos. All the videos are uploaded to YouTube at calieandco. There you can see a whole live stream playlist with over 170 ceramic hour videos. Like, there's a lot there for you to check out. Some we are just making things, some we're doing glazing, underglazing, I don't know, a lot of things. Be sure to check it out. And subscribe to the YouTube, give the video a thumbs up, all that great stuff. It seems really small to like give a video a thumbs up or comment or even like subscribing or following, but it really does help. You know, even if you're not paying money, like it still helps people like with their like businesses or like, you know, just like making a, I don't know, social media channel, whatever. So yeah, well, I'll catch you guys later, and I hope you have a great day. All right, bye.